I'm not wearing a mask because presently I'm alone. And I'm also wearing a Carter Blood Care shirt because I gave blood this morning, and you should do that. It's very good. It saves lives. Anyway, this next lab is called the Persistent Pesticide Burger. It's going to be great. Okay, so step one is to purchase a McDonald's hamburger from the dollar menu, like one of their tiny cheap ones. I haven't eaten at McDonald's in a while. I don't even know if they still have a dollar menu, but whatever it is. Whatever they're calling it these days. Anyway, leave it in an open place where pets and little brothers and sisters and stuff can't get to it, or your kids if you have kids. Then what you're going to do is kind of do a time lapse, right? So you've probably seen stuff like this on the internet, on YouTube, things like that. McDonald's hamburgers are persistent. They don't really break down the way that food is supposed to. Like if you leave a banana out for 2 weeks, it's not going to look the same, okay? Particularly if you get like an organic apple or something like that and leave it out, and then serious changes happen. But not with a McDonald's hamburger. And that's an interesting thing that we'll talk about in a second. But what you're going to do is take a picture of this persistent hamburger for 2 weeks. Take one picture of it every day, and you make a little time lapse out of it. Now, step 4, okay? This is where you're going to switch gears a little bit while your hamburger sits there. You're going to research persistent pesticides, okay? So persistent pesticides are pesticides that remain in the environment for a long period of time and don't break down. Most pesticides break down in the presence of sunlight or with an increase in temperature or even exposure to water, things like that, that cause them to chemically change and break down, and they're no longer continue to cause the poisoning effect that they were originally intended to do. Persistent pesticides hang on, they don't break down, and continue to cause damage in the ecosystem for a long period of time. That's what they are. But you're going to research some of the persistent pesticides that were or are now a problem for bees and other wildlife, a problem for ecosystems as a whole. Okay? So you're essentially looking for a case study of a persistent pesticide that was in use or is presently in use and is causing problems for bees and other wildlife and ecosystems. Step 5, your final step. You're going to predict why your hamburger didn't break down, why your persistent burger was persistent. Okay? Food is supposed to go bad, right? You're supposed to eat it, and that's that. If you leave it out for 2 weeks, it's supposed to go bad. That's what should happen. So you're going to predict why it didn't, and then tell me how you feel. Okay, this is step 6. How do you feel? How do you feel about the case study you read about these persistent pesticides that were in use legally and continue to cause problems for wildlife? And then tell me how you feel about the modern food system and how you feel about that burger not changing.